Hey guys, just want to go over the recap of what we went through when we were together last week. First of all, I'm going to go over the personnel. We discussed a couple of things that was happening within the personnel of the BDC. We went through the fact that Bonnie had left. She felt like it wasn't a good fit and things like that, so she's no longer with the BDC team. Also, we see that Pam is going to be making a move possibly. It's in the air still, but her husband's going to be moving or leaving to go to a job that's in Jacksonville. So there's a possibility that they might be making a move or transition to that area. Just want to make sure we stay on top of that. I was sitting with each other BDC rep and was getting some feedback from them. For the most part, they're very excited about what we're doing. They're very happy that there's structure in place and that Tim's on board. A couple things that we want to make sure we stay on top of is that Cassandra had some concerns. There were some things that she voiced that she had some negativity in her voice, she had some reluctance in her voice, and she continued to let that be known throughout the BDC. She was talking to people about it. She seemed to be where she constantly kept bringing up, she can't make enough money, there's not enough leads, there's too much to do, and it's not helping them set more appointments and things like that. So we were able to kind of come through some solutions and help give her some feedback and let her see that the areas that she thought were really hindrances were things that were helping get everything moving because there was nothing in those places before. So in doing so, we were able to extinguish and squash a lot of her complaints. I want to make sure that something's handled with her and that somebody had a sit down with her and kind of said, what's going on? Where are you at? We need to make sure you understand that this is the direction we're going. Tim is here. He's looking to bring this to a new place. And in order for us to do so, you need to either be on board, and if you're not on board, then just find somewhere else to be on board with, so to speak. Okay, and I don't know if that happened, that conversation, but I'm bringing it up because I think it's very important that that conversation does happen. Also, I was able to sit with each member and went through each of the BDC reps. Some of them had a couple of concerns about the processes that we put in place with the new campaigns. Some of the emails needed to be tweaked a little bit with different verbiage so that it can fit a little bit better flow. We showed them again how to maximize their day, going through their tasks, going through their opportunities, going through their daily checkout reports, and making sure that everything's getting handled the right way. So that was a really good thing we had spent with them throughout the day. We were able to set up within the CRM the schedule now for the BDC rep to reflect what their actual schedule is. What was happening was there was no schedule. It was a round robin to all the BDC reps all the time. So whether they were on or off, they were getting a round robin. We made that adjustment in the system. We contacted DealerSocket together, and Tim was able to go ahead and put that schedule in the system, and Tim was able to update that. So now, when the round robin happens, a lead comes in, it's coming in and going in a round robin fashion according to the schedule in the system. Some of the team members weren't coming into work and said, I'll just get my leads throughout the day and I'll work on them from home. That's not going to happen any longer. I will make sure that we continue to make sure that that's in place, and if there's any hiccups that needs to be addressed, we can look at that. It's always important to follow up, especially on the technology side of it, because the CRM will only do what we tell it to do, and so we want to make sure that it stays in place and that nothing gets changed. We also discovered that the digital airstrike portion of the CRM and of the lead responses that's happening currently right now is seeming to cause a disconnect between us as a company and the prospect and the customer that's sending in the leads. And so what we noticed was, and we saw an example of it, was that a lead came in and then a response went out from Digital Airstrike that was totally disconnected from what they said in the lead. And the customer made mention of that and said, what is this? Don't you guys read what I said? And so it was something that was very disconnected. And I think that that's causing a little bit of a problem with how our responses are going out and the engagement between our customers. So I talked to Jim, I talked to Chris, and also Tim, and I think that we could definitely do better if we get rid of that portion from Digital Airstrike. I know Digital Airstrike has other components to it, so we want to make sure we keep those components in place that Jim is using and that the store is using, that you guys like and that's working. We agreed that it seems to where it could probably do better for us. It'll give the BDC rep now a natural response, making sure that we go through answering the questions and going through the things that are important to what the customer's needs are and what the customer wants from the lead. But also it gives us a way to measure and coach our team and how we respond on that first response, and also in our time. We want to make sure that we handle it the right way. I also went through the BDC performance report with Tim, making sure he understood how to get to it properly, which he did, and then also showed him how we can make sure the leads in the system reflect accuracy. Because it seems to be there's been, again, a disconnect as to what's reported to the leads when we're going through them, and then also what's in the system, and then versus what's real. What happens is leads come through the system and they get assigned to the reps. That could be a service lead, a parts lead, an employment application, whatever it may be. They're sending these leads in and it's round robining to the BDC rep, and that's getting included in their total count. There was a concern that it's not reflecting real numbers. So what we said and what we did was we showed Tim how to go in and make adjustments in the system the right way to assign the lead to the specific department so that it doesn't show up in our lead count. The CRM has to be checked on daily. It needs to be, looked through daily, making sure everything is continuing to work the way it needs to work. I also went through the morning routine with Tim, what's expected on a daily basis for him. First, we went through the appointment confirmations. Every appointment in the store needs to be confirmed, whether by Tim or by his team. There needs to be a confirmation on every appointment. And so what we went through also is making sure the team understood what a confirmed appointment really is. Just because we spoke to a customer 2 or 3 days ago when we spoke to them or set the appointment, that's not a confirmed appointment. An appointment is confirmed on the same day, or if it's too early in the morning, it's the night before. And then what we do in our confirmations is we make a phone call first, a text message or email is then sent as well, and the confirmation isn't set as confirmed if we leave messages. It's confirmed when the customer says, yes, I'll be there. So whether it's done through a text, an email, or on the phone, that's when it gets marked as confirmed appointment. And so that'll also help with solidifying our numbers and putting glue on those appointments so those appointments stick. And especially when it's coming from a manager and we're calling and saying, hey, this is Joe over here at Kelly Ford. Just want to reach out. I see that you have an appointment set today with Casey. I'm one of the managers. We're looking forward to seeing you. Want to make sure you're still able to make it at 11:45. Yes, I am. Fantastic. We look forward to seeing you when you come in. Go right to the front desk, ask for Jim, and then he's going to get you set up with our best salesperson. We look forward to seeing you today. By doing that, now you're a manager calling, and also what you're doing now is you're talking to them about speaking to another manager, okay? And so, again, make sure these are getting done on a daily basis on all appointments for sales and BDC. I also showed Tim how to get the screen to reflect onto the big TV in the wall there so that we can see the appointments that are set for today and even the next day or two, so that especially if it's on a Friday, we can see what our Friday, Saturday, and Sunday appointments look like. So we want to make sure that the team sees and visualizes what's coming in, not just what we're writing with a marker on the Post-it board, but what we're putting up there on the system. Obviously, we have that screen there for a reason, so we're going to make sure that that screen is up there and it reflects what we're doing every day. We also went over putting together a pricing matrix for the BDC. And so we discussed, Tim and Jim and myself, about putting together something that has a list of every model, every year, their incentives and rebates, and discounts for that. So what it does then is it allows the BDC to have confidence so that they can utilize this as a guide, so that when the customer is looking for a best price or whatnot, we have something that we can talk to the customer with very freely and also move on from that as well with the intention to set the appointment and bring them in. We've gone over different rebuttals and objections necessary for us to handle it the right way, not so it just looks like we're just giving prices and hanging up. Obviously, giving prices, asking them what else is important to them and moving on so that we can take them right down the road to the appointment, set the appointment, and bring them in the store. We went through the leads that came in from the prior day. If we need to have attention on them, we can get involved very quickly. What he does is he's going to pull this report from the day before with the leads that are in it and go through those leads, looking at making sure they were responded to properly, making sure that we answered questions, making sure that if there's any necessary interaction between the manager and that lead now that has to be done, now Tim's able to get into it much more quickly so that if there looks like to be something that he can get involved with to bring that customer in, he can definitely get on it right away. So that's a really good thing that we're looking forward to, and so we want to make sure that that's happening daily also. I also went over some things with the sales team. As I was walking out on the lot, one of the salespeople were sitting there, and I decided to talk to them and went through a couple of things with them. Hey, what's going on? How's your month look? What's going on for today? You have anything in the works? As we started to discuss this, I started to say, look, let's go through this. Let me show you a couple things that might be able to help you. Open up your DealerSocket app, and I showed them where they can pull opportunities and tasks, and they can filter by day or month to date or however many what that range would be, so that we can find opportunities. Instead of just sitting there waiting for something to happen, we're going to now make something happen. Get on the phone. We saw that we can find 25 calls, send out emails, different text messages that can be done. All these things that the salesperson stated didn't even know were in there. So now we decided to get the entire team together and went through it, making sure they all saw and understood where to go so they can maximize their day. They can make sure that everything gets done the way it needs to get done so that they're not just waiting for a customer. Now they're trying to, create activity. And I said this, guys, activity creates activity. Make sure that you're doing whatever you can. You're not going to have to go inside and be tied to a desk now. You have it on your phone. All of your click-to-calls work because there was a couple issues with click-to-calls. Again, we resolved those also. And one other thing too, if there are click-to-call issues and they're not able to use it, all they need to do sometimes is just delete the app and reinstall it again, and it makes it better. Because we noticed that with 2 or 3 people that their click-to-call wasn't working. That's all they did, and it got fixed like that. So we sat with them. It's something that was very good find, and we believe it can help as long as they do it. So we want to make sure that these guys and gals are staying on top of using their mobile app and going through their opportunities and their tasks. I also sat with Jeremy. We went through a couple of things. He's doing a fantastic job. We see how everything is going from here up in a lot of areas that we discussed from the first time we came together till now. One of the things that we did go over was I recommended that we go look for somebody we can hire to bring in to handle all outbound phone calls, not just on a part-time basis, but on a full-time basis. I really believe there's opportunity that we're not getting from Monday through Friday so that we can make sure that we can reach out to our customer base. Even if we're not able to secure an appointment, we can at least gather the right information and update their records so that we can do as well as we can with our marketing efforts also. So we talked about that, and we also discussed making sure that the CDK integration with the DealerSocket was set up properly, and we discovered that CDK and DealerSocket are having an issue and they just cannot do anything beyond appointments. But what we can do is this. We can pull a report. CDK was able to say, okay, look, we have reports available so that we can find the declined opcodes, pull that list, and then we can manually follow up. So this is something that was being done with Janet through a letter that was being sent out. But now, once we get somebody on board full time, this is one more opportunity that even if it's a manual pull, we can then make phone calls and send out emails as well. And finally, in wrapping everything up, as I was going through some of this with Chris, I suggested utilizing the checkout section of DealerSocket. In that section, when you go to the checkout, it allows for you to see each salesperson, and then there's a green light, yellow light, and red light you can mark. What you do is you set a standard for your sales team. You tell them, look, this is what you're going to utilize on a daily basis. You're going to have, and this is just an example, but you can make this however you want. But here's an example. You're going to have to do 15 click-to-calls that are registered in the system each day. Also, there's going to have to be also emails or text messages that register throughout that in that 15 total actions that are going to be done each day. Then, if there's not that, at the end of the day, when they go through and they walk up, they print out their daily checkout, it shows their activity for the day. The manager then looks it over and they'll either get green, yellow, or red. It's based off of what their activities are doing to the day and the standard that we set for them to accomplish. It holds them accountable now to what they're doing every day. So we can quantify what it is that's going on. And we can say, hey guys, look, this is what you're supposed to do on a daily basis, minimum. It's a minimum. Doesn't mean just do the minimum, but this is at least if you get this done, you'll get green. And now, if they're not green 95% of the time, their bonus level then will go down from 100% to 95%. And then you can set it up and say, okay, look, if you're not green 90% of the time, your bonus level goes down to 90% of what your bonus would be. So what this does is this incentivizes them to work when they're there and not just hang out. And what it does is it keeps accountability on us with them and them with us as a management team. All right, so this is a suggestion I can go further in depth with, but this is just something that I want to make sure I put into your ear as an opportunity for us to gain more momentum with our activity on a daily basis. We also secured in a date for my next visit on June 8th. It's a Friday. I look forward to seeing you guys again then. Between now and then, I will continue, as I have been, to reach out to your team, to reach out to Tim, and make sure that we're continuing to go in there and maximize everything we can each day to maximize our sales and results. Have a great day. We'll see you soon, guys.